And that not only has Ted done a great deal of work, but we've been very fortunate since my time in this position. I've had an opportunity to speak with a number of people throughout the country and in the various 10 regions through NHTSA, and we are very, very fortunate to have a great partner and a great friend and a great leader as our Region 1 Director in Mike Geraci. Mike's done just an amazing job for us. His leadership, his direction, and just the enthusiasm that he approaches it with. I know it's great for me. I'd love to see the energy that he brings to it, and energy is contagious. And when that happens, it results in a better program, a better process, and we are fortunate, in my view, to have one of the best region administrators in the country in Mike Geraci. So Mike, come up.
Thanks very much, Commissioner. It's very kind of you. And it's easy to have energy when you have partners that are in this room. Folks like Commissioner Flynn and Colonel Lesperance, who really go about the job for the right reasons. It was about a week ago, I had a conversation with some law enforcement executives on some of these similar issues, and they were talking about we just don't have time, meaning our agency just doesn't have time to address a lot of the traffic issues that you talk about. Distracted driving, just don't have time for that. DUI, the paperwork takes too much time. Drug driving, don't have time to train those people. I'm not sure what you have time for if it's not for these life-saving missions that all of you are here today to discuss. You know, as I look across Region 1, which includes all of New England, one of the things I like to do is to look at a comparison of crime. That means Part 1 crime, and then motor vehicle crashes and deaths on our highways all across this region. And in 2012, which is the last year that we have really good data for, in the entire New England region, there were about 300, just a little over 300 homicides. Same time period, there were over 1,000 deaths on the roadways. What gets the attention? What gets the headlines? When a motor vehicle fatality occurs in Rutland and maybe a few days later in Burlington and maybe up in Jay Peak, we don't connect the dots, and the public doesn't get a strong message. So I encourage all of us, including us at NHTSA, to really work on that, to focus on the attention and the messaging that it deserves, to drive it to the public. You heard Jake talk about making this a public health issue as well. I agree. It's not all just on law enforcement. What's killing and injuring our young people, our adults, seniors, for various reasons you've seen, a lot of the activity is taking place on the highways all across this state and all across the region. So again, I thank Commissioner for what he's doing and the leadership, bringing this group together today. Colonel, certainly the vast number of troopers that are here are a great testament to your leadership and your willingness to look at this and focus it like never been focused before. The message from the governor certainly has got national attention, I think for the right reasons as well. And we thank all of the troopers and all the law enforcement folks who make those traffic stops to take those risk takers off the road all times of the day, all across this state. Without you and your really dedication to this effort, all of us in the background that support your efforts really can't get very far. It's the people that make the traffic stops that really make a difference on the roadways. And Ted, you and all the members of the Highway Safety Office, which is a relatively small staff for a big job, deserve a lot of credit for what you do as well, to focus the attention where it needs to be focused. Data-driven approaches on whatever those issues might be across the state. In your communities, what is it, the issue that matters most to you? And address that and focus it like never before. So Ted, thanks very much for what you do on a daily basis. And you've got great partners, Greg Nagurney, the Traffic Safety Resource Prosecutor, Judge Joseph. It's the only judicial outreach liaison we have in New England. Judge, congratulations, and thank you for what you're doing and what you will do in the future. And a special note to the Vermont Highway Safety Alliance. I'm sure there are many members here today. It really is a model for others to follow, clearly. grassroots efforts. The thing that I really get impressed about the Alliance is they get things done. It's not just an organization that addresses an issue and then moves on to something else, but they try to figure how can we make a difference. So congratulations. I'm sure there are members of that Alliance here today. I also want to introduce somebody from my staff that is the program manager for Vermont. You're really fortunate to have this individual representing Vermont. She also handles the state of Connecticut, but Angie Byrne is here. Angie, where are you? Just wave your hand. Thank you for being here, Angie. I appreciate it. You're really lucky. I think she's one of the best program managers in the country, and I might be biased, but I really believe that and what she does for all of you and for your partners. So, as you look at today and where you might move in the future, you certainly made significant strides along the way. Much more room to grow. If you look at, I know we're talking about drug driving, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention safety belts and where the compliance rate has been for a number of years, hovering 84, 85%. When you look for gains for the future, that's one of those areas to look at. Strict enforcement on a routine basis. Address it as often as you can. Certainly speed is always an issue. Those are unbelted, drinking and driving, single vehicle crashes off the road, increasingly across this country. Single vehicle motorcycle crashes, impaired motorcyclists, high speed, those are the issues that we really need to look at and make some focus for the future. So many issues, but I encourage you, this is not just somebody from the federal government saying, these are the things you need to look at. These are the only things you need to address. My message is, look at what's happening in your communities, in the region that you serve, in the constituents that you serve. What is it that's taking place there? Certainly, drug driving is across the board. We're only a tip of the iceberg of what we may know about it. But what are those issues, traffic safety issues, that are taking place in your individual communities that you can focus on as a partnership like never been focused before? So that's a strong message that I want to leave with you today, to look at this as certainly a statewide and national perspective, but also drill down the data, what makes it important to you and to your folks that you serve.